Welcome back to the news at 10. Residents of Ozumba in Aba, the commercial center of Abia State, are crying out to the government to rescue them from flood, which has become a nightmare. They say their ordeal began after the government constructed a drainage system 2 years ago. However, as the state government calls for patience on the issue, the residents are urged not to block the drains with refuse. Our community report tonight looks at the situation in Ozumba.
Azubike Alofesus is not a happy man. He has lost all his possessions to flood that ravaged this community. He laments his predicament.
So there's no way for the rain to get out. So after said and done, the first rain come and push this gutter down. All the whole water that comes all from this area come and fill for our house here. Because the water looks like this. If I'm not mistaken, see the line. The finger lines. So all these places is full of water. We are suffering for it now. There's no property inside our rooms again.
He is not alone. Many others living here in Ozumba, a suburb of Aba in Abia State, have also been evicted by flood, with their property hanging out to dry. Aside from this, residents wake up every day to the sight of overfilled gutters, which they say puts them at risk of contracting not one but several diseases.
And why we are complaining is that the mosquito nets are alarming. We can't sleep in them. Even if you're using nets, there's no way you can prevent the mosquito. And the another thing is that the water now is smelling. It's now having odor. People living here is no longer conducive.
Some have had the unpleasant experiences of falling into the gutters.
When I was going somewhere, I fell inside water, and the water was deep. Anytime I go to school, my leg will be dirty, and if I put my leg inside the water, my leg will be rotten.
To others, it is the state of the roads that gives them worry.
This road should have been walked for a long good time, but now I see the road. The water is full of it and nothing much is moving around. Motor is not going through, and this is also a major road that the government needs.
The problems here are so overwhelming for the residents that there is only one thing left to do.
People are crying. People are pleading for the government to come and intervene. We need their help. Nothing but their help.
In its response, the word from the government is patience, but not without admonishment for making an already bad situation worse.
They should just understand, show understanding with government. It's not going to be permanent. The government is coming after the rains to address the issue. I will also appeal to them that when we will finally address this issue, they should help us and also help themselves, because the government will not always be there. I don't understand why you will clean up your compound and empty everything inside the drainage. You see your neighbor who will just come, he's doing a renovation in his house. He will go to the river to buy a trip of sharp sand or shippings. He will come and empty everything on the road inside the drainage.
As the residents wait for the rainy season to end, the daily woes continue. When this is eventually resolved, perhaps the situation will help all concerned to understand the need for better planning and clean living to avoid an outbreak of diseases that cannot be controlled.
Muslim pilgrims embarking on the 2017 Hajj have been asked to desist from indulging in acts capable of jeopardizing the safety and security of Nigerians. Addressing the Muslim pilgrims at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja, the Minister of State for Aviation, Senator Hadi Sirika, warned the pilgrims to also avoid engaging in activities that may pitch them against officials of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. On his part, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory told the victims to pray for Nigeria and the speedy recovery of President Muhammadu Buhari.
This jidal, this rancor, or this fighting, or these unnecessary talks and vain talks that comes in between you and fellow pilgrims is the easiest one that will bullshit your fast. All of us will go there and stand on the Mount of Arafat. All of us will go and do the tawaf. All of us will go and do sa'i. All of us will do the Jamra. Everywhere we go, we do it. But that one single thing that I noticed by going time and again to pilgrimage is our ability and capacity to be able to tolerate one another and go and come back in one piece, and then of course without rancor.
You are holy people. You are already in Hajj. So while in the kingdom and while on the journey, please pray for our country, Nigeria. Pray for our leaders. Pray for our dear President and leader, President Muhammadu Buhari, for Allah to give him good health, strength, long life, and ability to come back safely to continue to steer the affairs of our dear country.
Africa Development Bank has promised to partner with the Kano state government in the development of agriculture and healthcare delivery as part of its social responsibility project. The bank's president, Mr. Femi Adesina, during an inspection tour of the ultra-modern Gingiu Specialist Hospital and the Kano State Agricultural Supply Company, commended the state government for its strides in healthcare delivery.
First class, world class facilities. I've seen here the fluoroscopy things here. We've seen the mammograph machine here. We saw CT scan, machines here that are actually first class. And I think that at the end of the day, improving the quality of life of people require that the health facilities be able to diagnose problems very quickly. And you have a teaching hospital like this that can actually help patients instead of actually the country spending all its money with medical tourism going outside. I've seen that a lot of companies that are doing well in agriculture, both in terms of rice. I've seen a lot of work they're doing in terms of energy. The governor told me about what he's doing in terms of solar energy in the state. He told me quite a bit about what they are doing in terms of skills, acquisition centers in the state. I've seen the hospital here. I'm also going to be seeing the Casco, which is a project that's actually doing fertilizer. This is clearly a state on the move, and I think that's what good leadership does. It makes things move faster in the right direction. And so the African Development Bank for sure will support Kano.
And now to the arts. Realism and expressive abstract style is what contemporary sculptor Adeola Balogun is serving his audience in his solo exhibition at the Omenka Gallery in Lagos. Our review tonight presents Bubbles of Emotions.
Contemporary sculptor Adeola Balogun veers off from his signature style of using rubber and tires in Bubbles of Emotion, his second solo show at the Omenka Gallery. The 36 works of art are mainly done in steel, infusing some mechanical parts, and the way they're shaped reminds one of bubbles.
There are some works in that series which are actually, looking like bubbles, because of their form and their shape, right? If you're talking about emotion, you're talking about intense feeling of, it could be of hatred, it could be of joy, it could be of disappointment, And if you're looking at what we have around us, you discover that there are, more of the negative side being reflected in our society. Because if you look at what's going on in the social media, for instance, you discover that, there are a lot of hate speeches flying here and there. And there's a need for us, for us to be the master of our emotion, because to a large extent, if we don't do that, that might actually have a negative consequence for us.
There are pieces like Bliss, where a couple can be seen almost in warm embrace, to this other one called An Attempt at Perpetuity, where a lone skeleton is with a pensive look on his face. For those who've watched him closely, Adeola keeps delving into new realms, and that's one thing that makes his works intriguing.
Over 200 unemployed graduates in Bauchi State will receive between 700,000 naira and 900,000 naira as startup capital to venture into the agriculture sector. The initiative is coming under the third Fadama project of the federal government, and the beneficiaries are required to develop acceptable business plans to access the grant. At the training of the youths, the Bauchi State coordinator of the project, Dr. Ali Garba, explains that the scheme aims to reduce the level of unemployment in the country.
There are those of them applying to become veterinary doctors, or they want to establish their own clinics. So that way we are reducing unemployment first, because they have their enterprises to start working on. Then secondly, again, through their establishment of business plans, they have their own businesses now. They need not to go to the government to ask for jobs or at the ministries or any other place, because they are masters of themselves now. So that way the policy of reduction in employment, you can see that there's a contribution by Fadama project to reduce the unemployment pressure that we have within the state. Based on their business plans that they have submitted, now we select those 200 business plans that will now be sent to the national office. Now once it is being sent to a national office, it is from there they will now make the selections, then the funds will be released immediately.
With the rising threats of cattle rustling, kidnapping and other related crimes in some northern states, the Nigerian Air Force is extending its reach to the area, especially Katsina State, to deal with these menaces. At the inauguration of the Quick Response Wing in Daura, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, says the aim is to complement the efforts of sister security agencies in border surveillance.
Governor Bello Masari led dignitaries, including the Chief of Air Staff and the Director General of the Department of State Services, to the commissioning of the Nigerian Air Force Quick Response Wing in Daura, Katsina State.
Unveiling of the stone.
The service constructed additional 4 blocks of classrooms at the Muhammadu Buhari Primary School in Daura and provided it with furniture and other teaching materials. The idea of the wing is to reduce the response time by the Air Force to cases of insecurity in the area.
With the establishment of the Quick Response Group in Gusau, the FOB in Katsina, and the Quick Response Wing in Daura, the Nigerian Air Force, Your Excellency and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, is today better positioned to add value to security in the Northwest geopolitical zone. The newly established Central Flying Train School, which will take off very soon in Katsina, will additionally add value to what we are trying to achieve in terms of ensuring that our communities are secured.
The unit is structured to consist of virtual operational and engineering wings that will be activated when the need arises. There are also the regiment wings in both Katsina and Daura, admin support wing, and a medical center located in Katsina.
While acknowledging the importance of the base, Governor Bello Masari observed that the state shares borders with Niger Republic and the base will be helpful in checking cross-border crimes.
You will all agree with me that establishing Air Force units in Katsina State is long overdue, considering the fact the state shares a 2,000-kilometer long international border with the Niger Republic. These 2 bases will greatly assist the federal government in conducting area surveillance of our border with the Republic of Niger to prevent terrorist organizations from turning this part of the country into safe haven.
The delegation also commissioned the 213 Forward Operational Base in Katsina, the state capital.
Still ahead on the news at 10. Ferrari's driver Sebastian Vettel wins the 10th Hungarian Grand Prix to stretch his Formula One championship lead over Mercedes rival Lewis Hamilton to 14 points. We'll have more in sports news. Please join us again.